Hey, what's up guys, it's Nick-Tew, previously known as Disturbed Gaming, and today I'm going to be showing you guys the best loot farm that I've found so far within the game. It is entirely possible that there are other farms that are potentially better. I just haven't been able to test them, but out of my 80 hours of playtime, this is like by far the best farm that I've seen, and nothing else that I've done so far even comes close. Before I get into the video, I just want to quickly mention that if anybody is looking for help with grinding gear, leveling up, setting up a perfect build, or whatever the case may be but you're too busy to, feel free to email me at nick2biz@gmail.com and I'd be more than happy to help you out. Also, I was thinking about uploading a PvE build tomorrow, so if you think that's something that you would want to see, let me know in the comments below, and I'd be happy to do that. But anyways, let's get right into it. So I'm sure you guys read the title and were like, wait, 200 items an hour? That must be clickbait bullshit, right? But trust me, 200 an hour isn't even me like slightly embellishing at all. It's actually extremely easily attainable, and I'm convinced that if you do this farm at maximum efficiency, you can easily get up to 400 items an hour, which is just absolutely insane. There is a good bit of information to know about this farm to do it the best and the most efficiently, so I'm not even sure where to start, but here we go, I guess. So basically, I found this farm pretty much just by chance because I just decided to hop into the dark zone and clear some landmarks to get to max level, and stumbled upon, I guess, what you would call a glitch. Honestly, I'm not even sure if it's a glitch or not, which is why this is so hard to explain, but if you're someone that isn't interested in quote-unquote, exploiting, don't worry, you can still use the same area on the map to farm extremely efficiently. But anyways, basically what was happening was we were clearing these landmarks in the top left DZ, namely the DC62 and the Hotel 62 landmarks, and it kept just resetting over and over again after we were clearing it, allowing us to just stay in one spot and do the same landmark over and over again without any time in between, and just continuously getting rewards without having to run from landmark to landmark. On top of that, these couple of landmarks only take about a minute or two on average to clear, so it was immediately clear to me that this is a very effective farm, but I'll get more into the exact amount of loot that you get and how to maximize it, etc. in a minute. So I'm not entirely sure how to get the landmark to reset 100% of the time, or if it's even an intended feature or not, because sometimes it would reset more than 10 times in a row, and other times it wouldn't reset at all. What my friend and I were doing, which seemed to work, was after clearing the landmark, we would have one of us run out of the landmark zone while the other one stayed in the area, and that seemed to just refresh it like the second one of us would run out. Most of the time this would work pretty much immediately, as you can see in the footage, but sometimes it just wouldn't work at all and the landmark just wouldn't reset, but more than often it did work, which was really weird. My other suspicion is that it has nothing to do with us running out of it at all, and maybe it's just because that nobody else was in the dark zone with us, so all of the landmarks were up, and maybe there's like a mechanic within the game where if you clear a landmark, it automatically respawns a new one that's downed afterwards, so that there's never any downtime on landmarks, right? And maybe just by chance the landmark that we were at just kept being the one that got reset because all the other ones were already up, so the chance that the one that is close to us would be reset would be much higher than if more of them were down, right? But in all honesty, I really have no idea. Us running out of it seemed to work relatively consistently, but not 100% of the time, which is why I'm a little bit confused. But in all honesty, even if this respawning thing were to never happen a single time, the farm is still insanely efficient because there's 4 landmarks extremely close to each other, literally within 30 seconds of running to each other, and each of them only takes about 1 to 2 minutes to clear, maybe 3 minutes if it's just like a solo. But I can almost guarantee you the respawn thing will happen a ton to you, because it definitely did to us even initially when we weren't trying at all. The 4 landmarks that we were doing were the DC62 that's in the building, a DC62 that spawns right outside the building, which will often spawn immediately after the one in the building, and it's literally less than 20 meters away, so that's basically just having that one reset, which is really nice. The Hotel 62, which also seemed to respawn a ton, and the Deserted Suites landmark, which I didn't see respawn once, but we only ever cleared it a few times because usually the other places were up anyways and we were just cycling between those. I would recommend starting at the DC 62, clearing it, attempting to get it to reset, and if for whatever reason that doesn't work, just go clear the Hotel 62 or maybe the DC 62 outside if that's there. Try to get that to reset, and 9 times out of 10, if you do the Hotel 62, the DC 62 will just respawn afterwards, and you can just go back and clear that and just repeat the process. And when or if you get unlucky, just do the Deserted Suites landmark. Like I said before, if you perceive this as an exploit or a bug and you just don't want to partake in that, doing these 4 landmarks normally, like I said, is still an incredibly fast way to gear up, just considering how fast you can clear each landmark and beyond how easy it is to do. So if you're not interested in having a reset or whatever, you could literally just go from each landmark to each landmark and it would be super fast still. Regardless, I'm sure this is on everyone's mind. Yes, this is a dark zone farm, so inherently there is some risk involved with fighting other players. them griefing you, taking your loot, etc. But after farming here for literally 5 hours, I didn't run into a single other player. I'm not sure if that's because this is the DZ that's unnormalized, so maybe people didn't want to go here, which by the way, that doesn't affect the farm at all. It's still just as easy. Yeah, I don't really know. We didn't run into any other players whilst doing this, so maybe try to target the DZ that's unnormalized and find a farm similar, try to do the resetting thing. But for us, we didn't find anybody. But with that out of the way, in terms of how much loot we were getting exactly, I'd say that each landmark clear averaged just about 5 pieces of loot off of bosses and random NPCs, and you can vet that by watching the gameplay. And depending upon the difficulty of the landmark, you can also get an extra item at the end, and actually 2 items at the end if you're level 35 and have the Dark Zone perk that gives you extra loot per landmark clear. There's also Dark Zone proficiency caches once you get to level 50, and by the way, getting to level 50 doing this only took us 2 hours, so you could get to level 50 or 35 very, very fast. And you get one of the Dark Zone caches about every 3 landmarks, sometimes earlier, and those give you 2 items each time, which also go past the Gearscore cap, which is a huge added bonus, kind of just like the normal proficiency caches in the open world. On top of that, the landmarks also have Dark Zone chests that you can just straight up open after clearing them, which will also give 1 item. I've seen it give 2 items before, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not really sure how often the chests respawn, etc. I haven't seen them a whole bunch, but I figured I might as well just mention them. But taking the chests out of the equation, on average we were getting about 5 drops a minute. And that's of course if you count for everything, such as landmark rewards, Dark Zone caches, not the chests, floor drops are from bosses and random NPCs. And I'm not counting purples, by the way. I'm only counting high ends. I think purples are kind of irrelevant. And this is also counting even the running time from landmark to landmark. It's also important to remember that some landmarks will be given different difficulties. I'm not really sure how this happens. Sometimes the DC62 is on challenge, sometimes it's on hard. Not really sure why this happens, but when it's on challenge, you're actually going to get, I think, 1 more boss, and you'll also get an extra piece of loot at the end, rather than just doing a normal hard one, which changes the time of the clear, but it's still extremely quick. So as a quick example, in this one Hotel 62 clear, I got 7 items in total. And guess what? This is even faster if you're running with a group of 4. I'm only running with a group of 2, and I was able to reach at least 300 items an hour. And it could definitely even be faster if you have a better build than I do. My build is pretty decent, but it's very, very, very far from where I want it to be. As I'm sure you can tell though, 5 items per minute would result in 300 items per hour, right? But the title says 200 items per hour. That's because I didn't want to be disingenuous, because you also have to account for extraction time, because you can only pick up like 5 items. So if you were to pick up everything and always extract it, that would definitely cut into the time. But honestly, I didn't really bother extracting a lot of the loot because some of it is straight up just useless, and I just don't have a need for it. After doing this, you get a ton of crafting materials and credits. So the only thing you need is to really just pick up stuff that's worth extracting, that's stuff that you need for your build. But I would always pick up the loot that doesn't require you to extract it, because you can always just deconstruct that immediately, sell it, or potentially use it, of course. Another fantastic part about this farm is that you'll also end up getting maxed out on every single material in no time. So not only is it the best for raw loot, you can actually get a shitload of materials as well. Completing landmarks and killing NPCs gives you crafting materials. So in just 2 hours, I was maxed out on electronics and titanium, which in the open world are relatively hard to get. And I also got a ton of other crafting materials from just deconstructing purples on the ground that I didn't care to pick up. You can also get other crafting materials from landmarks. You just tend to get titanium and electronics more often. All in all, as you can see, this farm is absolutely amazing and by far the best that I've seen so far. And if done at maximum efficiency, can yield absolutely insane results. Like I said, easily up to 400 items per hour, if not more. If anybody finds the definitive reason why the landmarks end up resetting and can replicate it 100% of the time, please make sure to let me know in the comments, as I'm genuinely curious. But for now, I just say do the way that I explained it. Anyways, thanks a ton for watching. I hope this helped, and if it did, please make sure to drop a like and comment below, and subscribe for videos similar to this one. I'll see you later, guys.